Hello, everybody. This is Truth Be Told. We're coming back for our second segment um, of Matters with a Heart called The Funny Thing About Love. And we're going through the ebbs and flows of what love is and what love isn't, and how we show up in love in every aspect of love. We see that love is so many things. There's so many different types of love. There is philia, that's a friendship kind of love. Storge, or that's from the familial type of love or family love. There's eros, which is that romantic love. There's agape, which is a godly love or universal love. Ludus, which is playful. Pragma, which is enduring. There's so many different types of love, and we kind of weave through in and out of so many of those types of love already. So here we are with Wilson again, Taylor,
Taylor.
and she could go out in detail about this next segment of her life. We've gone through the different variations from her youth until now, and so now we're going to really dive into what love looked like for her in this present season. Go ahead, Kamie, take the floor. I yield.
Thank you very much. And again, the reason why she keeps calling me Wilson, that is my maiden name, and we've known each other since high school. So she's used to the Kamie Wilson, but it's okay. Kamie Taylor. All right. So yes, I have gone and seen, as we mentioned before, all the different ebbs and flows of love. And we last left off with those who are currently single, who are looking, or who are going through similar things. I would just say definitely wait on the Lord. Wait to hear that message. Wait to feel, and you'll know. It's a knowing. Of course, it's your intuition. It's the Holy Spirit. It's whatever you want to call it. You'll have that knowing. So I would just wait on the Lord, or just wait to hear what you need to hear. As I mentioned before, it all starts with self-love. You need to make sure that you understand you and what you're looking for, what you need, what you want, before you can move on to say, here's what I'm going to give or going to need or whatever. Set the boundaries within yourself and know what it is that who you are within yourself before you go out and say, okay, I want love or need love, or here, I'm ready to love. So go ahead.
Let's stop there because you just said a lot, and I
Mm-hmm.
want to say why that's important. Why self-love is important, because you were uniquely knit together in your mother's womb by God for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to know who you are and what your purpose is so that you will not be unequally yoked, right? So you won't just be in relationships for no apparent reason and just for the feeling or the nature or just to say you're married or in situations, because that type of love doesn't last, right? It doesn't last when you're just in an enduring relationship trying to hold on by threads and you have no commitment because there's no synergy or no connectivity or no they say
Foundation.
chemistry or
Yeah.
foundation. And I would say that too. I would say even your first primary love, like you said, should be the love of God, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he teaches you how to love yourself and he teaches you how to love each other well, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it's important to have that covenant with God, and to if as a believer for sure, and to be able to have that as a basis or uh, um, a platform that you could build on, right? The rock in
Exactly.
which you build on, and then also um, knowing yourself, knowing who you are, helps you to identify what you need in the next person, right? So you're not just
Exactly.
marrying someone because they said you're beautiful, or because they
Exactly.
said they love you, or because they look nice, or because they know the scripture, or because they have a relationship with God, or because they're powerful, or they have money, or they have stature or stamina, or any of those things. You're hosting a a covenant with God that you must uphold since He's created you in that image and likeness of Him, right? So you're not feeling like you're connected to this person or that you're loved by this person. Sometimes that's because you haven't, like you said, identified with who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not. equally yoked with the person who you're supposed to be with. So
Right.
if that person is not yielding what you need, it might be because that person was not the person for you. And so you need to know who you are going into a committed relationship with and who you are well so that you can do life with them well, right? And then if pre-adventure things fall out of order, things don't work out, you can hold on because you know that this is the person you're supposed to be and live your life with, right?
Hmm.
And so you're not enduring because you're married now, right? Or because we got kids now, but this
Right.
is your life partner. And you know that. And so you're able to stay, right? Because you know that you're with the person you're supposed to be with, right?
Hmm.
And so I think everything you said was so critical, right? Because then things just flow. And even when they don't, you're able to find, relocate each other, right? Relearn each other because we're always growing together.
Right.
And love will go in and out because, okay, he's growing different, right? But
Hmm.
he's still my husband. And I love all that he is. I love all we've been to each other, right? So now I have to learn him at this level so that we can go higher together. Or now I have to see her for who she's become, and now I have to be able to love her there, right?
Hmm.
You know, not hold her down or not hold him down or not push him above, right? But meet him where he is, right? And that because we're walking in um, the courage that we walk in, the power we walk in is a foundation of what God had already set that you must be in your own life, right? So when you choose outside of that order, you're out of order, right? And then you're misaligned, right? So you're talking about becoming more into alignment, in tune with yourself and in the knowledge of Christ as you're growing, right? That's where you're you're starting from. That's your catalyst, right? Go ahead and go. Go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, knowing who you are and what you're looking for, again, the foundation is set so that you can move forward. Like I've been proposed to 4 times in my life. And the first guy, of course, loved my life. He passed away. The second guy was not too long after that. And he was in the military. And I was like, am 19 years old, 20 years old. I can't marry you. Like, I will cheat on you. Like, I'm not gonna do that to you or me. Like, why would we do that to each other? You're gone 6 months at a time, whatnot. No. So again, it's knowing who you are, what you're looking for. And then of course, third person who proposed was the father of my sons. And then the fourth person was my now husband. So, knowing where you are, what you're comfortable with, who you are, that sets the foundation so that you can move forward into your life. So, fast forward, as I've already talked about, the love of my life, my son's father, that relationship. And again, in that moment in my life, those were the decisions I made at the time, whether it be good or right, wrong or right, sacrifice or selfless or self-love or whatever the case may be. It was what I made in that moment based on my experiences, my life, where I was mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, all of that. So we did end up separating, obviously, and we made it work for our sons. Thankfully, my husband, who again, I've known him as well since high school, we didn't connect until my son, my youngest, was it was after I had already separated with my son's father. We ended up, that was like 2006 or so, and my husband and I actually got together and made an official relationship around 2007, 2008, that time frame. And we've pretty much been together ever since. Again, ebbs and flows. There's lots of different things that take place in dynamics. And again, as I mentioned, I did not want to get married. He actually proposed to me in 2011 or so, 2010. What I didn't realize is that he actually asked my dad for my dad for my hand in marriage, like right after I separated, right when we first got together, right after I separated from my son's father. And my dad told him, no, it's too soon. It's too, she's just getting out of this relationship. She's just, she doesn't need that right now. Like let her get through that moment, let my grandsons process what's happening and give it time. And so he did. He waited, and he didn't actually propose to me until 2011. And even when he proposed, I was like, okay, great, and but then in my mind, my heart, I still was like, on marriage. It took me a moment to get on board. He was all on board. He was prepared. He's taken the necessary steps. But it took me a moment. And most of the time you don't hear that. Most of the times it's with the women. We're ready, we're prepared, we're ready to go. Where's the wedding? Let's prepare. That wasn't our case. It was me. I'm like, well, hold on, we could be engaged forever. I'm cool with that. So, I got the ring. I'm cool. Like, let's go that way. And it wasn't until we had planned a trip in February of 2013. And this is probably the funniest and craziest way that you'll ever hear about a marriage starting. But we were on our way out of the country on a trip, and we wanted to ensure we had already moved in together. We're living together, but we wanted to ensure that once we got on this trip, they weren't going to have any issues with us not being legally married. So we went down to get our marriage license just to take it with us, just to show like, oh yeah, look, we're going to. And as we're, heading down there, we get there and they're like, oh, okay, you're here for your marriage license. And they're like, you can get married. And I'm like, we both looked at each other, like, no, we're just here for the license. And so we go, we sit, we put our information in there, and we get called to the next window. And they were like, okay, well, you can get you can get married now instead of just getting the marriage license. And before I can say no, he said, well, yes, let's do it. And I was like, yes, what do you mean? He's like, well, I'm not going anywhere. Do you plan on going anywhere? And I was like, no, I don't plan on going anywhere either. So right then and there, we got married. And that's how we ended up being married. There was no wedding, no, big dress or anything. We were both just got off work. He's in his tie and I'm in my dress business clothes. And we're there at the altar, exchanging vows. And we walked out of there like, what did we just do? And it was so funny because I'm there at the counter and, once he said yes, and I said, wait, what are we doing? And even the clerk, she was like, oh yeah, sign here. I said, so wait. I said, once I sign this, I'm married? And she said, yes. And I was like, and I had a mini panic attack. And I was like, and so I signed it and I walked away and I went to the bathroom and I was taking deep breaths and I was like, oh God, what did I just do? What did I just do? And all of a sudden, like, it was like the Dolby in the theater where it's like and I just felt this calm come over me. And I was in the bathroom and I was just like, and I just felt it. And I was like, I said, okay, God. I said, okay, I'm ready. And that was like, the feeling that I got was like God telling me, you'll be okay. You'll be fine. Like this, you're fine. Like compose yourself. And that was like the composure just coming over me. And I took a deep breath and I said, okay. And I went out. He looked at me. He said, you okay? I said, yes. The clerk looked at me. She said, you okay? I said, yes. She's like, I've never seen that from the woman. I've always seen it from the man. I've never seen it from the woman. And it was in that moment that I felt God's presence. And I was like, okay, this is the direction I'm supposed to take. And so we said our vows and we walked out and it was like, wow, we just got married. Like, okay. And we've been married ever since. Not to say that I haven't tried to leave the marriage here and there. No. But because we've had moments. And, the one thing that I've always realized is even when we have our arguments, our disagreements, we walk away, we have our separations, whatever the case, because we have been separated. Even when we have that, we still come back to each other because we do love each other. We do care for it. And I don't see myself with anyone else. Like, yes, he gets on my last nerve, but that nerve, God gives me more. Obviously, he doesn't leave me in the moments where I feel despair or distraught. And it wasn't until around 2016 that when we had our big separation, and in that moment, I had to ask God, okay, all this time I know it's always been me. I'm always quick to be like, I'm done, I'm out, I'm gone. Show me, reveal to me who I am and where I've went wrong, what I need to do, what I need to change. And I will say this, be careful what you ask for because God will give it to you, whether it be grand, big, small, lavish, whatever the case is. life and death is in the power of the tongue. And so when you ask these things, or when you come to God and you have these serious heart to hearts with God, God is going to give you what you ask for. And what he revealed to me, whew, I was like, oh Lord, I had to repent. I was like, oh God, I'm so sorry. Like, I realized the error of my ways, the things that I've done. Here I am telling him, oh God, change this with him. He needs to do this. He needs to repent. He needs to be saved more. He needs to go to church more. He, instead of looking at, okay, I need to be more patient. I have more of a relationship or strength. My relationship is more vocal, more outwardly, with God. And I'm the first to go pray. I'm the first to do these things. And, look at myself. What is it that I'm, not doing or have done that I've diminished him as a husband or as a man, or, didn't get, I'm out of order because I'm always trying to be in control or be in power, all these different things. And, I had to really look at what it was that I was doing, and the causes that I have, the cause and effect, the causes that I have done that has affected us in this way. And I had to look at myself and be like, okay, girl, you tripping. Like, take a step back, really look at yourself and really humble yourself. Like, you're not this, prize that, he has won. Like, we both won a prize. We both are in this together. We both, share the love and the caring. And, it was me that had to take a step back and really ask for forgiveness, not only from God, but from my husband. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I've done these things. I realize what I've done. I realize the steps that I have, taken to get us where we are. Granted, it wasn't all me, but I will take responsibility for the things that I have done. And that's some humble pie that ain't good all the time. It don't always taste good, but it is what you need, and it's going to fulfill you, and it's going to sustain you and keep you and push you to where you need to be. So it takes a moment, and it takes you being bold to ask that question to God, like, reveal what it is that I'm doing wrong, or, reveal to me what I need to change and do. And, if you ask and you really want it, he'll give it to you. And yeah, it's up to you to make those changes. So, here we are 13 years later, and we're still, rocking in with each other. Again, not to say we haven't had, many other situations, but, we still choose each other. We still, from the moment we say, I'm not going anywhere, you're not going anywhere. And I can't see myself without him. I like everything that when I have something good, or when I have something that I've, improved upon or changed, I want to go call him. I want to tell him. I want to make sure he knows what's going on. Granted, he's a quiet person. We have two different personalities. He's more of a homebody. I'm a out adventurous. Let's
I
travel.
was
Let's
just
do
going to go
things.
there. I was going to go there because I believe that we jumped from the beginning to the end, and there was a lot of stuff in the middle, right? That that brought you to this point of, I need to seek God, and I need him to show me me. I need him to show me what's going wrong. But what was in the in between? Because you said there were separations, right? There was something big enough to cause a separation. How do we? Because in a real life relationship, we don't always see what's happening in the moment. We can see
No,
it retrospective. But because you're able to give a account to this experience, you can help somebody else who might be going through it right now. What
right.
was some of those situations that separated you guys? What did that separation look like for y'all?
Mhm. So I,
Um,
I definitely, when you mentioned equally yoked, you definitely have to ensure that you guys are equally yoked, and not only spiritually, and that you guys have the same spiritual background and spiritual focus and direction, but spiritual, equally yoked in life. Like, do you guys like the same things? Do you guys do the same things? Can you guys, not that you have to like and do the same everything together, but do you have common interests? Do you have common things that you guys enjoy doing together? And so there are a lot of things we enjoy doing, but as I mentioned, he's a homebody. He can come home and be home all day, and he's good. Like, he'll go in the room and he'll watch TV in his chair, and he's good. Me, I won't say I'm a busybody, but I like to do things. I like to go places. I like to travel. I like to be with friends. I like to be with family. I like to, do all these different things. And he prefers to stay home. So finding
was it
that,
like that? Was it like that in the beginning? Was it
it
like that?
wasn't.
Like, were
It
you?
wasn't. It wasn't like that in the beginning. And in the beginning, of course, we didn't live together, so that was the other thing. So when we didn't live together, we went a lot of places. We did a lot of things. We went out, and when you've known somebody for a long time, there's after a while, you kind of done a lot of the same things, and you run out of things to do sometimes, especially locally, unless you're traveling out and start doing other things. But you can go to the improv so many times, you can go to the amusement park so many times. Like after a while, okay, you've done it all. So, like I mentioned, we've known each other and been in a relationship for about 19 years now. So it's I mean, we've gone to concerts and do things, and we just went to the New Edition concert recently. So we still do things, but it's the interest. It's like, he understands that I am a busybody. I like to do things, go things. I like to stay busy. I like to help people. I'm a giver. I like to do, if I have knowledge or if I have something and somebody needs it or wants it, I give it freely. So I'm always looking to help and do things, and he rather just be in his home and chilling. So we did separate. There was a situation that took place, and we moved out. I was looking to divorce him. I was, ready to go my separate ways because we were so different at the time. And again, I'm still evolving. Actually, I will go back to the 2013 when we got married, because 2013 was a year for me. When we got married, in the beginning, January of 2013, a lot happened to me. Every single month there was things that were happening for me, good and bad, I should say, or good and different. In January, I had just switched jobs I left a job of 13 years to try to go to a new job for, better income, more things to do. So I left a job of 13 years to go to another job. So that was January. In February, he and I got married, impromptu. It was an impromptu marriage, but we got married in February. In March, we moved from a different home to kind of solidify the marriage. So we found another place so that, he has a daughter who actually is right around the same age as my sons. So we moved to a bigger place so that we can accommodate the family that we've now created. In April, I graduated from college. I was graduating. I didn't go right traditionally, like right after high school. I went back because in my 13 years, I realized in order to move forward, I needed a degree. So I started school once I got to a level of needing to advance. So I was graduating in April of 2013 from University of Redlands. And then I am in May, I was a guest speaker for a women's empowerment group out of Pomona. And then in June, which is my birthday, I ended up getting sick and I didn't know what was happening, what was going on. It was just like I was dizzy. I had sensitivity to light. I was nauseous. There was so many things going on. So my doctor chalked it up to, oh, it's just a lot going on. You've been through a lot the last 6 months. It's vertigo. I'll just take you off for 2 months. So he checked it up to vertigo. I was off. And, all throughout those 2 months, it was it would come and go, but for the most part, it was consistent every day. It started to die down. He took me off for about 2 months. Mind you, I just started this new job. Took me out for 2 months. And then around August, September, I went back to work. I was there for 2 weeks and it came on strong. Like I was only working for 2 weeks. On my way to work, I was like dizzy. And I was like, no, something is truly wrong. So at that point, I went back to my doctor and the doctor's like, oh, let me refer you to an ENT specialist, ears, nose, throat specialist. And I forget the technical term, but took me to the doctor and the doctor is a yeah. So I took me to the doctor
Most
and
people understand vertigo. It brings you to dizziness. It affects
mm-hmm,
your ability to drive, to think, motion,
mm-hmm,
right?
nauseous,
You're
sensitivity,
unbalanced,
like, yeah,
yeah,
very
all the
unbalanced.
things.
Yes.
Right. So you were going through this during this first year of y'all being
Mm,
married,
mm,
is your point.
exactly.
And so
Exactly.
the first year of your marriage was really fast paced, and then you were hit with sickness.
Yes. And
And it
it
wasn't
was
just vertigo.
No, it wasn't just vertigo. So the doctor took me off for 6 more months. And I was like, doctor, I just started a new job. Like, you can't take me off for 6 months. He's like, well, I need to do a series of tests. So long story short, it wasn't until around December where we've exhausted, the heart monitor, the EKGs, the epilepsy type things. There was like all these different tests. And it wasn't until he did a biopsy because he found a nodule on my thyroid once he did the biopsy, it came back that I had papillary carcinoma, which it was a form of thyroid cancer. And so I had thyroid cancer, and it was revealed on December 23rd of 2013 to me, which happens to be my dad's birthday. And so um I'm there at the doctor with my baby sister. She's the baby of us, and she's home from college during that time. And the doctor tells me this, and I'm like, tears are falling from my eyes. And I'm like, okay, well, what are the next steps? And he's like, well, I suggest you remove your thyroid. I have December 26th or I have February 13th. And I was like, well, February 13th, because I need to pray. I need to, ask my pastor. I need to have a second opinion. I need all these different things. And he was like, okay, well, I'll schedule you for February 13th. And so he leaves the room, and my baby sister's like, Cam, why would you do that to yourself? And I was like, what are you talking about? She said, why would you wait that long to make that decision? I'm here during, Christmas break. I'll watch your boys, do it now. And I said, you know what? You're right. And so he comes back in. I told him I'm going to do it on the 26th, and which is 3 days from him just now telling me. And so he's like, okay, go do this, go do that, go do that. As I'm going to the elevator to go down to do my blood work and all these things, my husband calls me. What's wrong? He can feel me. He can feel my presence. And that's one thing that we've always had with each other, when we can feel when something's just not right with the other. So we'll call each other. So the moment I picked up, he said, what's wrong? And I was like, I have cancer. And he's like, what? And so, we're going through all of this. And so I ended up having the surgery 3 days later. So that Christmas was a very sad, horrible Christmas for us, because I've been off for 6 months. There was no money coming in like it was before. I was in sales, and, the boys didn't have Christmas like they would want it. And so I ended up having the surgery, and then January comes around and they fire me because I haven't been there. So it was a whole lot going on, the first year. And so by the time our anniversary came around again, in my mindset, for me, I took all that as signs. Like, I shouldn't have did this. Like, I shouldn't have made this decision. So I gave him 365 days, and then I served him on that 366 day. Here's your divorce papers, because this ain't working out for me. And he was like, wait a minute, what's happening? And so even when we went before the judge, like a year later, he was like, but judge, she wasn't in her right mind. Like, she was sick and she was this. And I was looking at him like, don't use my sickness against me. And so he's always been fighting for this marriage. And I thank him for that, because for me, as I mentioned, my mindset was already set from young age of what I've seen with my parents and all these different relationships. Like, I just didn't want marriage. So for me, any little sign was like, oh, don't do it, get out of it. So he's always been the long suffering in this relationship. Not to say that I haven't, but I've always been one to like quickly move myself or remove myself if something isn't right, or if I feel like it's not right, because it needs to be a certain type of way. So with,
Can I
fast
stop
forward a
you
few.
for a second? I just
Uh-huh,
want to stop you for a
uh-huh.
second because it was a very beautiful, interesting dynamic that I saw right there. It was like leadership is not just um, being the one who provides. It's the one who brings, a homeostasis or rulership or just strength to the relationship too when there is none, right? So
Yeah.
you were totally wiped out. Like your whole year just took you out. Well, it started out pretty good, right? The first 6 months was
Yeah.
beautiful, and then it
Yeah.
just went to this last 6 months was a downward spiral of not knowing what was going on, not being even really able to identify with yourself because of this experience you were having in your body, and then figuring out that look, this is my life. I might lose my life. I
Right.
don't want to be subject to a marriage and lose my life, but somehow love stood up in that situation. And that's a funny thing about love, that it will stand up when it's necessary, because
Right.
that could have been the end of a marriage, but because he became king in that part of the relationship, even though you found moments of instability that we might have time to get into, but that saved it from being annulled,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
So him standing up was and being like, okay, judge, I don't care what she's saying right now. I don't care what you think about what she just said. I
Yeah.
don't want you to identify with her emotions. I don't want you to identify with her words. Listen to the facts.
Right. Right. She ain't in
Right.
her right mind. She been through
She's
some
not
things.
in her right mind right now. And that was a beautiful part of of what it means to be a leader
Hmm.
in your home, and to be able to fight, for what is vital. Like he's like, now I'm talking about my own self-love. I love this woman.
Yeah.
She ain't going.
Yeah.
That was pretty beautiful. I love that. That was very significant because it shows men that if you love your wife, you should be willing to fight for her even when she can't, right? And then also it shows the women, right, to be willing enough, right, to take a moment to hear him, to hear God, to be able to realize and come to the justification that there could be more to this, right? There was this point in your marriage that when you got married, you sensed God in that bathroom that came on you and said, I'm giving you the peace to go ahead and go through this.
Exactly.
And then he stood up in that same um, um, under God, right, in authority, and said,
Right.
hey, we did this. We're
Right.
going to do this,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so I
Right.
think that that's a beautiful moment to just stop um, and just accept it and embrace that, love can have victory. You can win, right? You don't have to just quit, right?
Right.
Especially pulling on that love during, a diagnosis, right? For him to
Yeah.
be able to call you and say, hey, what's wrong?
Yeah.
I feel you in
Yeah.
my spirit and my soul,
Hmm.
right? And to have even the love of your sister pulling from that love,
Yeah.
right? So when you're going through love, you're able to pull from different types of love. When you're going through experiences in life, I should say, you're
Yeah.
able to pull from different types of love to kind of fortify you. What
Yeah.
was that like? Even your dad to be able to say, "Hey, she's not ready yet," you
Yeah.
know, and to have that backbone, that strength of him, you know, in your youth. What was it like pulling from all those different variations of love to help you become who you are, and make it through those moments? And we'll take our final break after that. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, it was thankfully them, being able to recognize that I wasn't myself, to be able to stand in the gap for me, and intercede on my behalf. So, I'm grateful and thankful for each and every one of them to see what I need before I even knew that I needed it. So, thankfully God was able to use it, because that's what he does. He uses us and uses, those who are willing to be used to be able to stand in the gap for those who need us. So thankfully they were able to stand in the gap to help me understand where I was in that moment, even if I wasn't there, mentally and mentally and emotionally, and all of that. So I felt the love, even though I didn't understand it and realize it in the moment. In hindsight, yes, it shows the strength that they had, and the mercy that they gave me in that moment.
Wow, that's the funny thing about love. That's a good place to put a pin in it. True love will win, right? It
Yes.
will win. It will bring you to victory. And so that's so
Yes.
beautiful, a beautiful testimony of what I knew it was imperative that you be on today. Just really quick, you said that the reason why I call you Wilson at the beginning was because we went to school together. But it's not just that. Um, Cameron, we did a lot in high school together. We did what was it? We taught trained teachers on
Yes.
how to be supportive to students in
Peer
different
counselors. Yeah.
capacities all over the city
Yeah.
of California, the state of California. We did peer counseling within the school, helping
Hmm.
people get through various students get through various aspects of their
Conflicts. Hmm.
lives.
Hmm.
On conflict resolutions when there were fights, they sent them
Right.
to us and all the things. And not only that, we were
Basketball.
on the same basketball team.
Lady nights.
The same mentor was both of our mentor throughout our whole life. And
Yes.
so me and Cameron are not just friends, we're sisters. We've been put together. And when that mentor left this earth, I was asked to do his eulogy at our school. And when she heard what I was doing, she said, "Oh, I'm down." And she came in and she helped build the backbone of the administration. She was with me with every administrator as we're talking through what has to happen to safeguard the school and to bring everything into unity, to bring the family in from out of state, to
Yeah.
provide food for all the people, to make sure that we have the staff to cover the sound and all these different things. She was there to help me support that. And then in 2019, when I graduated from my degree, she was there to help me start my business, my School of Arts, and help me to identify all the different pros and cons. And so Cameron Wilson is a sister. So she said that I wanted just to introduce to you her as Cameron Taylor, the woman, the wife, the mother. Um, and she's going to get to you to tell you a little bit more about the things that kind of pull them apart, her ambition, her life goals, her vocation. And so, Cammy, with the next minute before we take a pause, do you want to tell them a little bit about what you do and how they can find you if they need you for any resources? Your job is, you say you're housed in San Bernardino, one of them. Um,
So I
are
am
you
a
still with the Black Chamber of Commerce?
I do still work with them. I also work, oh, my screen went dark when you said that. I do still work with them. And then I also work with the Vines Medical Society and Foundation, which helps African American students who are currently pre-med go into the med school and become doctors. And then, of course, I have my own business, which I help small businesses and businesses become a business, as well as I provide resources for them. So I am located in San Bernardino, the KJD group, which is that's also the website. And I also do foster care. So I do a number of different things, and I love just understanding and learning new things. So I'm here to be of service, a benevolent service, and then help those who are in need. So we can definitely talk about that when we get back.
There you have it. If you ever need a resource for business and business planning and strategy, trying to figure out what type of entity you want to become, she's very resourceful in being able to identify the different aspects of business and how to become that entity, um, and tax formations, and how to be tax free in some instances, and all these different things. She's able to give us a load of information in those capacities, and she's helped a lot of people win. So, if you would like to get to write down her information, go ahead and feel free to contact her whenever you feel you need that resource. All right, well, Cammie, we're going to stop right here, and we'll come back for our last segment. I hope y'all enjoying it.
Thank
Funny
you.
thing about love.
Yes.
We'll see you soon.